me try to get you situated. Hi, guys, welcome. It's been a whole 2 days since I've been on this thing, and I just came in to say hi. I hope you are well. Mm, I had some lipstick on earlier, so it's just wearing off. Let me see if I can get my tea. Oh, I have to reach over and get my tea. Anyway, I don't know how long I'm going to be on this thing, but here I am. I wanted to stop on in and say hi. And let me see. Yeah, it should be. I should be on the internet. Hopefully, it's not. Hopefully, you guys can see me okay. I don't know. I'm using the internet on my phone, so I don't know how it's showing up. But tonight's topic is compassion. Compassion. And I've been doing my lives in my bed, my bedroom lately, and just enjoying being here and laying down and being relaxed. And yeah, compassion. Compassion is something that we all need, we can all use more of, and is something that I think is critical for human evolution. We can build all of these systems which are automatically designed by design to not care. Hey Balin, we can build all these systems which are automatically designed not to care. We can create businesses. We can educate the masses. We can reach out to other countries. Okay, okay, sweetie, this live is for grown-ups only, but thank you for being here. But what we need is compassion. Compassion is care. And when we create things without care, then we're headed for self destruction. We create for efficiency only, but eliminate care. I want to talk to you about the need for compassion. Compassion doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. Actually, compassion, first of all, you need to have it for yourself. You need to have care for yourself. It needs to start with you. Compassion is realizing that if you were to walk a mile in a man's shoes, then you would think and you would act as that man. Compassion is, hi Blue, how are you? Welcome. I'm just sitting here relaxed, drinking my tea and eating cookies, talking to you all about compassion. Hi Veronica, welcome sweetie, how are you? I hope everyone had a good day today. Hope you had a fantastic day. When I consider dating someone, one of the key characteristics that I look for, excuse me, is compassion. Compassion is about understanding that really and truly, people are doing the best that they can with what they have. But that doesn't mean that you allow certain energy in your life. Compassion is awareness. Compassion is being able to see the full picture. Again, you can be compassionate about someone, but not necessarily breaking bread with them, if you will, having them in your life space in a romantic sense, for example. You might be able to see, oh, this person is leading from a place of fear. They're leading from a place of abandonment. They're leading from a place of anger. Compassion is being able to see that. Yet, like I said, at the same time, it doesn't mean that you allow that person in your personal life movie. Does that make sense? Again, as I said earlier, compassion is realizing that if you were to walk a mile in that man's shoes, you would do the same thing that that man does, so to speak. Compassion is realizing that we all have different perspectives, and our perspectives are built according to how we were raised, who we were around, what experiences we had, etc., etc. Just like our culture is built around these things. And when I speak of culture, I'm not talking about any particular ethnicity. I'm talking about the environment. Your environment shapes your perspectives. We each have different perspectives. There's no perspective per se that is right or wrong. It is simply a perspective. And again, a person's perspective is shaped based upon their environment, what they experienced. If you had the same environment that the person had, then your perspective would probably be as that person. Again, to walk a mile in a man's shoes. So I'm going to address this, Elijah. What I want to say is, I understand the need for some Christians to evangelize because that is what they're taught. That is part of the indoctrination. I know that because for many years in my life, I classified myself as a man-made Christian, so to speak, since I was maybe about 11 years old. Having said that, I moved on and I graduated from that. A person isn't wrong because they choose to evangelize. That's simply their perspective. That's where they came from. That's what they know. When I was a Christian, for example, I was very judgmental. I just was. And I actually lived in a state of sometimes not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, a wretched sinner, etc., etc. But I have since grown from that particular mindset, you see. Compassion is realizing that we are all in the classroom of life and we are all learning and we are all growing and no one has arrived. Compassion is not saying, I'm right and you're wrong. Compassion is realizing, like I said, that everybody has their own path and their own journey that is unique to them, you see. And this is why I wouldn't necessarily, for me, go on people's pages and try to evangelize them now because I'm not in that same mindset. However, I understand the mindset that wishes to do that. Sometimes you can lack order and just lack discernment and not be able to read a room too. And sometimes that goes along with blind faith. again, assuming that you're right and other people are wrong. You got to be really careful of that in general. Yet compassion is understanding. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to put up with certain things. It simply means that you understand why a person is and why a person moves the way that they move. We need more compassion in this world. Okay. Do you feel like you have a lot of compassion, or do you feel like you could use more compassion? Compassion is being able to see, like I said, from a grand scope, a full lens, to see the background, if you will, to understand where a person is coming from, to get why they may feel that way, why they're saying what they're saying in the first place. Compassion is like humanity. And I think human beings in general are missing humanity because one thing that I see us doing all the time, and this is, I say us because I'm part of that, is constantly judging. We're constantly judging. This person is wrong, I'm right. I'm I'm this political party, this political party is wrong. And although, for example, and although you may not agree with another person's perspective, again, that doesn't make their perspective wrong. That's simply the way that they see things. So the way that a person sees things is the way that they see them. Again, as I said earlier, your perspective is shaped by your reality, by your experiences. And as I said earlier, and I'll repeat this several times, if you had that person's reality, then you would also share that person's perspectives. In the Handbook of Higher Consciousness by Ken Keyes, I always say Ken Keyes, but I think it's Ken Keyes. He wrote a book, and I'm thinking that he wrote it with his wife, this particular book. And there's several principles that he talks about in this book. And one of them is a principle that I just shared, which is basically everyone is doing the best that they can with what they have. Okay, there's several principles. I'm going to give you the 12 principles of the higher pathways of consciousness, actually. So let me see if I can go on my internet. I'm using internet on the phone internet, so hey, jailbreak. I'm using the internet on my phone, so if it's kind of splotchy, I do apologize in advance. Let me give you the 12 pathways of consciousness so that you know. Um, okay, but before we go there, let's look up that word compassion because that's what we're talking about too. Compassion. Sympathy, empathy. Um, you could have both without denying yourself. And by denying yourself, again, I mean that doesn't mean you have to put up with someone and whatever it is that they're experiencing in life. For example, let's say you meet a person and they happen to be abusive. You can see the root of maybe why that person might choose to be abusive, even though it doesn't justify the abuse, yet compassion gives you the lens to see, okay, this is why. But that doesn't mean that you stay in an abusive relationship. Okay, let's see what else. Some of the definitions that are online as it relates to compassion are actually quite limited. So let me go deeper. And we're going to go and explore um, the 12 keys of consciousness. Yeah. So according to Osho, compassion is the ultimate flowering of consciousness. The ultimate flowering of consciousness. Okay? A state where love is purified of all passion. See, I've said this before, and it's funny because I had a conversation with someone about passion, and I was saying how passion can come across as a not pleasant thing because passion can be violent, passion can be something that burns, and it's like I'm so passionate about it. It's a different type of energy than compassion. And I couldn't remember exactly where that information had come from. And so it was almost like in that conversation, in some ways, in the back of my mind, I may have even been second guessing myself even after the conversation, like, well, you know, am I remembering this right? What you say? So it's like caring of another where it's mutually beneficial rather than unstable. Let me look at that again here. Again, thank you for participating in the chat. Hey, Blue, did I say hi to you? I think I did. First of all, let me do my shout outs. Hey, Bay. Hey, Blue. Salsa. Hey, Elijah. Hey, Break. So it's kind of like caring of another. Oh, it keeps disappearing. Mutually, caring of another where it's mutually beneficial rather than unstable. Are you talking about passion? So compassion is really isn't about, necessarily things being mutual. Compassion is about you seeing what's going on. Oh, passion? Okay. Okay, I thought you were talking about passion versus compassion. I mean, you can look at it like that. You can look at it like that. But what I'm saying, hey, God got me. When I think about passion by itself, it can come across as being violent. It can come across as being burning, and it may or may not be a pleasant thing to have passion. And the way that I was explaining it to a friend of mine, um, a really good friend of mine, is, for example, they have something called a crime of passion. A crime is being committed because this person was so passionate. For example, a man sees his woman in bed with another man and commits a crime. They'll call that a crime of passion. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say that sometimes passion can come across as something that's actually not good, and can come across as something that's violent. As it says with Osho, what he says here, compassion, which is different, is the ultimate flowering of consciousness, a state where love. Okay, thank you, Jailbreak. I trying to explain this the best way I can, and sometimes the words are just beyond me. You know what I mean? Anyway, a state where love is purified of all passion, ego, and desire. You see what he says? I'm going to repeat that. A state where love is purified of all passion. Compassion is a state where love is purified of all passion, ego, and desire, even. Unlike love, which can be conditional or selfish, compassion is selfless, unconditional, and silent energy that arises when one realizes the oneness of all beings and accepts them without judgment, which is what I was saying earlier today. Compassion is realizing, again, that we're all in this classroom of life. Everybody has their own perspective. If you walk a mile in a man's shoes, you're going to think and act as that man. This helps to reduce the judgment of that man. Okay. Um, and often compared to a mother's love, they say that there is something about a mother's love that is just beyond. Okay. Key aspects of compassion: transform passion. So compassion is transformed passion. There's a difference. Compassion is passion free from poison. See, that's the thing that I was getting at. Sometimes passion can be poison, as I've stated, how they have something, in criminology called crimes of passion. Hey, Big Don Dada! How are you guys this evening? How's my OGs doing? Again, I shouted out um God got me and all my OGs. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anyway, again, compassion is passion free from all poison, bondage, and darkness. It's the highest form of love. Compassion is the highest form of love. And this is why when I date someone, the number one quality that I enjoy seeing is compassion. A man, a human that is compassionate, that's that's the man for me. You understand? Anyway, free from poison, bondage, and darkness. It's the highest form of love. While love is a step, compassion is the final mature state, a fragrance of love that has no expectation. Again, you've heard me say many times over that love has no expectation, and it's true. Love has no expectation. Love doesn't say, I can only love you if. Either you're going to love somebody or you're not going to love somebody. Love is not something that a person earns. I've said this 1,000 times. Love is something that a person gives, and love gives itself freely. That's my crock pot. It'll go off in a minute. Okay, had the warmer on. But anyway, unconditional giving, it's unconditional giving. It's not about charity or feeling superior. Okay, a lot of times what we see, okay, we see performed compassion. People who they have a camera on while they're, doing their charities, and part of the reason why people do that is because they need validation. They want to be seen for their good works. And again, I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong with it. I understand the perspective that it may come from, okay? Yet that's the reality of the situation. And yet compassion is about unconditional giving. It's not based upon any conditions. It's not based upon if it is seen. It's not based upon if something I'm giving to you so that you can give back to me. That's not compassion. That's not compassion. And I said earlier, what we need in this world is more compassion. Mm. Anyway, it's not about charity or feeling superior. It's not about feeling superior. I'm above you. I'm above you, therefore I can give you charity because I'm above. No, that's not what I'm talking about here. It says, but rather a direct, heartfelt response to suffering, a heartfelt response to suffering. Compassion is when you see suffering and your heart responds, or when you see children and your heart responds. You see, that's compassion. I was watching this is what led me on here, really. I was watching this commercial on my YouTube, because I was watching YouTube and then the commercial came through, and it was these you guys probably seen this commercial. It was all these K-5 children, and they had their little graduation hat on, their little bitty graduation robe, and they were all colors of the rainbow, these children. And I just cried. I felt myself tearing up. Hey, Billy D. I felt myself tearing up because I thought to myself, this is why human beings need to get their shit together, because of these little ones, because of them, because eventually they'll grow up. And what kind of world will they have? What kind of world are we leaving them? What kind of example are we making for the children, for the babies who have no voice yet? So that's compassion. Thank you, God got me. Um, it says sometimes described as a painful wound, a painful wound. And I know many of you can relate to this because many of you have a very caring heart. You have a very caring heart. So when you see things, it's like hard for you to watch certain things. Like you guys, and I know it's not just me, you've seen like the animal commercials, the commercials with the animals who are suffering, and then they have the sad music, and it's just like I can't even watch those commercials. They're very hard for me to watch because of the feelings that come up when I see those type of commercials, and they know that those commercials are going to pull on your heartstrings. Well, again, it's a painful wound sometimes that you feel when you see suffering. That's compassion, and we need more of compassion. Said also the thorn of awareness. It could be a thorn because sometimes you feel like, am I the only one seeing this? You feel a thorn because the systems in general are not set up to be caring. For example, a person's phone bill is due. I'm talking about, like, a person's car insurance is due. Um, a person's internet is due. They want to do Uber Eats to make ends meet. They're looking for a job. They want to do Uber Eats to make ends meet. Well, what happens when they lose their insurance? Then they can't drive. What happens when they don't have internet connection? Then it's going to be hard for them to use the app. Okay. What happens when, what was the other thing I mentioned? Oh, they don't have a phone. Then they lose their ability to even do Uber Eats. And what I'm saying is the systems are often set up to be efficient. These efficient systems were created by people. But what happened was they're missing an element of care. There's no care in the system, because care would say this person might need their internet in order to be able to pay this bill in the first place, so that they can make ends meet, so that they can meet their obligations. The systems were built around a lack of care. And it's funny because as human beings, we tend to be concerned about AI. We tend to be concerned about machines taking over. Yet the reality of the facts are we have been creating bureaucratic and systematic machines since before technology was even a thing. We have been behaving in a way where there was no heart to begin with. And so, what AI tends to do is it mimics what it's already seeing. So, the human beings have been, thank you, they've been behaving in a way that's been missing the heart, and yet they're concerned about AI being mechanical when they've already been mechanical, and they've been training AI based upon their own their own issues their own issues. And I find that fascinating. I find that fascinating. Anyway, compassion is beyond pity. It's not pitying someone. I pity you. I feel, you don't feel, it's not about you feeling sorry for someone. It's not about you pitying them and looking at them in a lower perspective, in a lower light. You see the God in everyone. You see. Namaste. I see you. Even if you are homeless, whether you are homeless or whether you're in a palace, it's a namaste. It's I see the God in you. What you say, God got me? Let me read that. Okay, God got me says, it's funny you said that because my Uber and my Lyft account got hacked, and I'm trying to work for Uber and Lyft and I can't even do it. That's what I'm saying. These systems that, and you know what? God got me, you're going to find a way. You're going to find a way. Just hold on. Just hold on. Hold on. And another way will present itself to you. Yeah? Yet that's what I'm saying. The system will, sometimes it could take away your ability to help yourself. Here you are attempting to be responsible and take care of your bills. Meanwhile, there are systems issues, and in your case, the system was hacked. Yes, and I'm praying for you too, God got me. Your name is not just your name. Your name is confirmation for what it is. For what it is. So, what I want you to do, God got me, when you have time, go find you a mirror in your home and you tell yourself it is already done. It is already done. A way has already been made. It is already done. Yeah. Your name, God got me, because God does. And when I'm talking about it, I'm not talking about it from a religious sense. Yet, if that is your place, then so be it. At the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It's about knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt. And this is for everyone that has been struggling and going through. I believe me, I'm not excluded from that. I've had to look in the mirror many days, many times, and declare that it has already been done. And speak those words over my life. I've had to speak those things that are not as though they were, because that's what the universe required me to do. I'm trying to tell you, God got me. That's the cleansing energy right there. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know. And this is what I had to tell myself too. When I look back at all the times where I was wondering, how am I going to make it? Let me tell you, I've had some dark days, and I mean, even recently. Okay? I mean, dark. And it's crazy how you're welcome, sweetie. It's crazy how your mind could go to a dark place, especially when you feel like your back is against the wall. There's pressure on every side. You're threatening your bills and this and that. Everything is piling up against you. Oh, believe me, please understand that you are not the only one in this reality that has had that situation. It's just that people don't talk about them because people are too embarrassed to be transparent. And I understand that because they fear that they're going to have judgment. They fear that people are going to look down on them. But let me tell you, I know what it's like to be behind on bills already. And I also know what it's like to be ahead, you see. And this is why I can speak from this place of compassion, because I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and many of us have, yet few of us will admit it. Will admit it. So I already know. And that's why I'm telling you, what helped me will also help you. The same God, the same energy, the same universe, capable of helping me, also capable of helping you. Already, your solution is already in sight. It's already in sight. It's already on the way. It's already on the way. And you never know. I've had people like my mom who had dreams about me, and the next day said, hey, do you need this? Do you need that? Blah, blah, blah. You know, and the next thing you know, she's sending me something. What I'm trying to tell you is, if the universe needs to speak to a complete stranger, even on your behalf, please trust. Trust and don't give up. And even if you tell yourself out loud that I give up, you are still here. If the only thing you have is your breath, as I have said before, that is enough. That is absolutely enough. Because your breath means that you're still alive. And as long as you're still alive, there is still a chance. There is still hope. All hope is not lost. There are ways being made that you see not. And help is already on the way. So just hold on. Just hold on. That's for God got me. That's for me. That's for everybody. Just hold on. So compassion is beyond pity. Again, to look at someone as though they're below you is a feeling of superiority. So it's being in a condescending way. You're looking down, okay? Whereas compassion recognizes shared humanity and sees no separation. Thank you, Big Don Dada, and thank you, God Got Me. I'm glad that my OGs, are enjoying the content because really that's what matters to me. I'm not here to please everybody. It's never my intention to please actually anyone. It's my intention to come on here and speak whatever it is that needs to be spoken at this particular time. And if it encourages one person, then baby, that is more than enough. That is more than enough. I'm not here to be everybody's the most popular YouTube streamer. I'm not here for that. That's easy to do. What I'm here to talk about is whatever the ancestors give me. And oftentimes it's an encouraging word when someone is in a dark place. And this it doesn't have to be about party. It doesn't have to be about it's not a popularity contest. Compassion is not a popularity contest. Compassion is seeing somebody in their dark space. Not everybody wants to be entertained. Some people simply need to be encouraged. If you want to be entertained, go to the circus and get you some tickets. I have to say that. You have to say that. Anywho, so beyond pity, compassion is not pity. Again, whereas compassion recognizes, thank you, God got me. Thank you. Whereas compassion recognizes shared humanity and sees no separation. There is no separation. There is no separation. And this is why I'm going to tell you another secret. Some of these secrets I only give out in the mystery school, but I'm going to drop some nuggets here. Listen, I know this might sound crazy to you. Put some water out for the birds. If you're in a place where you can legally feed birds, and it's not illegal, because some places it's actually illegal, feed the birds. If you're in a place where you can at least put water out for the birds, put water out for the birds. I've said this before in so many ways. It's not about just the birds. It's about you participating and realizing that you are part of the web of life. And just as you are taking care of the birds, please understand that the universe is from the web of life. You are part of the web of life. You are not on an island by yourself, is what I'm trying to tell y'all today. And myself, because remember, I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me too. And sometimes when you're going through things, you feel as if you are separated and you are all alone. Please understand that that is an illusion, because there is nothing that is separated. We are all connected. We are connected to all things. It is only one. And you are not separate from it. Okay? All right. Pure consciousness is what arises. We're talking about compassion. Pure consciousness arises when the mind is silent. This is why sometimes I do the silent meditation. I don't just do the silent meditations for fun. I do the silent meditations here so that we can become aware of the fact that we are the awareness. The awareness is something that is within all of us. The awareness is the watcher. Please understand, life situations are happening to you, yet there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that truly can be added to you or taken away from you, because there is a part of you that is untouchable. It's untouchable by bills. It's untouchable by fear. It's untouchable by anything. It's untouchable, and that is the awareness that you truly are. The awareness is the one that's watching this video. That's the awareness. beyond your eyeballs. Okay. Free awareness, pure consciousness is free from the desire to change or control others. This is a very powerful place to get to as a human being, because you're not trying to change somebody into, thank you Big Don Dada, into what you want them to be. You're done being Holy Ghost Junior, if you will. You see what I'm saying? You're done trying to tell people how they need. Listen, y'all don't want me to preach today. How they need to be, what religious category they need to classify themselves in. You're done trying to transform people. Come on now. If you're still in the place of trying to change and trying to transform people, then you are not operating out of pure consciousness. You're not here, baby. I'll tell you something. We're not here to try to change people. We're not here to transform people. You're here to transform yourself. Thank you. To transform you. Work out your own salvation. Pure consciousness and compassion. Osho argues that compassion is necessary to heal the suffering caused by a lack of love. There is a lack of love. People don't know what love is in the first place. And yet, thank you, God got me. Feel free to share the video. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this one private, but yeah. I'll send you a link. If you email me, you want this video, please feel free to email me at DrBeeConnects@gmail.com. DrBeeConnects@gmail.com. Shout out to those of you who have already emailed me. I respond to my emails. That is what I do. I appreciate reading everything that you write, and I do read it. I do read your emails. A real person is reading your emails. Okay, again, that's Dr. B, DrBeE Connects@gmail.com. CONNECTS. Don't forget the S at gmail.com. So, yeah, the suffering in this world is caused by a lack of love. There's a strong lack of love. There's not a lack of resources, there's a lack of love. We have efficiency, but we don't have care. If we had care and it was beyond efficiency, then things would look a little different. Then there wouldn't be starving children. There's starving children not because there's no food, because there's places that have abundance. And yet, there's still starving children. Why? Because somewhere in our efficiency, we forgot care. And yet we're worried about AI. Again, when the people have been acting like machines long before machines. And all you're doing is training the system to be like you. You've already created a system. You've already created machines. Child. Again, compassion is necessary to heal the suffering caused by a lack of love. Many of the people who sing about love don't know about love. They just sing about love. I'm just saying. Acting as a therapeutic force in the world. Compassion is like therapy. Showing someone care. I see you. It's like therapy. Y'all, please. I'm going to read some more on this because this is good. It's good for me. It's good for you. Okay. Now let's continue. Compassion acts as a great integrator of energy, and this is what makes you fearless. Okay. Compassion means never to get angry at anyone and look upon all living beings as your own sons and daughters. This is deep. It's deep for me. How much would your world perspective change if you saw all human beings as your sons and your daughters? It's powerful. Then there would be more understanding. There would be more care. There would be more compassion in the first place. There would be more, forgive them, they know not what they do. There would be more of that. It further states, talking about this book, the Lotus Sutra, it further states that the journey to the state of, what you say? I've been caring for my client since 2011, since his mother passed away. Let me read this. Again, this is from God Got Me. His family don't come to visit or say Merry Christmas or Happy Birthday. It's always on me, but I never mind it. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are in nursing homes and adult living facilities and hospitals who don't get any visitors. I worked at the VA for over 12 years. Some of those patients never got a visitor. We live in a world that tends to lack forgiveness, where people have hardened their hearts, and that has become popular because of the algorithm. We've made the lack of compassion, we've made hardening your hearts as popularity, and we've rewarded it. I believe I came to this planet to care for people. Yeah, yeah. And in caring for others, that doesn't mean that we don't care for ourselves. We definitely care for ourselves, and we have to care for ourselves first, because if we don't, then we can't care for others. And I had, that revelation once again last week, where I actually had to sit myself down and say, the energy that I'm getting ready to put out, I need to put that energy in myself right now. I need to care for myself in such a way. Compassion and care is not denial of self. It's not becoming a martyr. The first person that we have compassion for is ourselves. Many people are miserable because they lack compassion for themselves. And then they go out and treat the world in an uncompassionate way because they lack compassion for themselves. They didn't start with the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson said. Thank you for the love. It talks about here in this the state of, it says Bodhisattva or Bodhisattva, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but this is something that goes back to Buddhism. Requires the boat made of compassion. Osho adds again that compassion is the purest form of love. It is the greatest miracle that all life forms await in times of great pain and suffering. He points out that it is the lack of love for one another which has created so much pain and suffering for mankind. The lack of love is why there's so much suffering in this world. Why there's so much pain in this world. We're so quick to blame. Thank you, God got me. it's the Republicans, and then it's the Democrats, and then it's the white folks, and then it's the black folks, and then it's the Asian folks, and then it's the this and the, no, it's everybody. Nobody gets a pass. It's the lack of love, which is beyond any classification that you choose, any box you choose to check. And the people have lost their minds because of it. Well, what you say now? Consequently, there is now a great need for compassion to heal people of their wounds and wipe their tears. Mm. For this reason, luminous masters like Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, and so on and so forth have appeared on earth for time to time to heal and nurture humanity. This is what it says. You don't need to argue. If you want to argue, you argue with yourself. Okay, you don't have to agree with everything that's written. That's another thing. Thank you. People feel the need that they have to agree with everything in order for them to find some nuggets of wisdom. It's not about you agreeing with everything. It's about you finding whatever resonates within your soul. Thank you, God got me. Yeah, to heal and nurture humanity. Osho states that compassion is therapeutic because all that is ill in man is because of lack of love. Again, he has not been able to love, or he has not been able to receive love. This is deep. Either a man, when I say man, I'm talking about human, doesn't matter what gender you are. Either a man has an issue loving, or a man has an issue being able to receive love. Both of these things are things that need to be corrected. Compassion is a state where one simply gives with no expectations, as I said earlier. In love, we are thankful because we have received something from others. But in compassion, we are thankful to others because they were there to receive something. I'm going to just let that sit. Let me read that again. In love, we are thankful because we have received something from others. But in compassion, this hits. We are thankful to others because they were there to receive something from us. Just sit with that. When's the last time you've been thankful to someone else because they were there to receive something from you? Their receiving it was the blessing. I always talk about the great play of life because your life is a play. Key word there, play. This is the great play of life. We are all in a play. A movie, a play. Where one gives and the other receives. Wherein one is thankful while the other is grateful. One is thankful, the other is grateful. Compassion is a form of prayerfulness. It can also express itself in meditation. It is the highest form of energy expressing itself. Now, this, what I'm reading from, it is oshonews.com, in case you were wondering. And this is from, this is a 2016 article that was published by Osho News, and the person that wrote it, I believe her name is, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, is Pratkesha or Perv, and I probably butchered that. So I apologize in advance. But you get the point. Let's look a little bit deeper here. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Where there is compassion, there is spirituality. Okay. Where there is greed, there is sin. Where there is anger, there is death. And where there is forgiveness, there is God. This is deep. This is a quote. And I'm going to say it again. Where there is compassion, there is spirituality. Where there is greed, there is sin. Where there is anger, there is death. And where there is forgiveness, there is God. Compassion moves the heart with the pain of others, and the resultant state makes one fearless and energetic. Ancient scriptures have described compassion as a form of prayer and meditation. Okay. All right. I'm just reading bits and pieces here. There's a lot to be said on this topic. Okay, hold on. Some more things. Here we go. Well, I hope I can read this. Let's see. Oh, fiddly D. Will it let me read it? Compassion must start with loving oneself, as I said earlier. Okay. You can't have compassion for the world until you have compassion for yourself. That's number one. Okay. I'm going to read a little bit of this. There is a story told by the author like this. One day, a teacher told her students that each week they should try to do a good deed, such as helping a blind person cross the street. A week later, the teacher asked the students if they remembered what she had instructed the class the previous week. Only 3 students raised their hands. This significantly or slightly disappointed the teacher. But she didn't forget to encourage these small friends. You did well. Now tell me, what did you do? The first student said, I did as you asked, helping an old blind lady across the street. The second said, I did the same. Finally, the third said, I also did as you instructed. Okay. The teacher, puzzled, asked, how did you find so many blind old ladies? The students explained, actually, it was just one old lady, but she refused to cross the street and even scolded us. Why do these children only know how to care for others in such a formulaic way and hollow way? It's because they do not understand what love is. They weren't taught that love must come voluntarily. Again, love is a gift, something that's given, not something that's earned. Love for them has been a command from a young age. You must love and respect your grandparents, your parents. You must cherish and help your friends. They only follow instructions, but deep down, they feel empty of the values of love. So, what do they have to give and care for others? Okay, this is basically talking about how you need to love yourself first. Similarly, like us, they haven't learned to love themselves. We grow up with expectations of our parents and those around us. These expectations always make us feel not good enough, always striving to be perfect in their eyes, rather than accepting our true selves. We have a hard time accepting our true selves. I know this to be a fact. When we can't meet those expectations, we feel inferior, blame ourselves, and never feel satisfied with ourselves. Mm-hmm. The more dissatisfied we become, the more lost we feel. We repeatedly seek the values seek the values of ourselves through the recognition of others. The result is a life full of dissatisfaction and suffering. Then we can only give dissatisfaction and suffering to others. Sometimes when people come on this live and they are adamant about being mean, it's really because they're suffering. I need to let that be known. What we have here? Dodo. Okay, Dodo, thank you. Feel free to send me an email at DrBeeConnects@gmail.com. All right. Where was I? Then we can only give dissatisfaction and suffering to others. Like they say, hurt people hurt people. You need to know that a blind person can never guide another blind person. Okay. A deceived person can never help another become more enlightened. Come on now. Come on now. Look at all these people that all of a sudden they've been deceiving people for eons in the music and entertainment world, and all of a sudden they want to lead people, but they've been deceiving people. But now they want to lead people. No, they want to be popular again in another way. Again, a deceived person can never help another become more enlightened. Okay? Someone who dares not live as themselves cannot help others find themselves. This is deep. And this is why I feel like I'm always working on accepting myself, loving myself. And let me tell you, it is ongoing. I've not arrived. Anyway, how can you help others ignite the flame of life while you live in darkness? Osho said, first be compassionate towards yourself. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love others. If you're not kind to yourself, kindness to others is just a facade. Like a tree, initially it needs to store water for the roots, branches, and leaves to grow, bloom, and then one day fruit to life. If it couldn't do this, it would probably die from the beginning. Everything like humans exists with the immutable laws of the universe. To live, to benefit people, to benefit the world, we need to help ourselves first. This is why I say you need to put yourself first. Of the word selfish to begin with. Thank you, Big Don Dada. You need to learn after yourself. You need to start being compassionate with yourself. Okay? The foundation of existence is when you know how to live happily. Yes, lots of time people are like, I say this all the time because people feel like if you are single, and I mean not married, okay, you need to be in a relationship, you need to be with somebody in order to be happy. And now the world has become so twisted that if you are happy being with yourself, then something is clearly wrong with you. And that comes from people that don't want to accept the fact that there is something sacred in your aloneness. They don't want to sit with themselves. And so they automatically assume that because you're comfortable doing such, they're uncomfortable with that. Something must be wrong with you. How dare you enjoy your own company? How dare you be satisfied with yourself? How dare you It's because they're imbalanced. Because only a person that can truly be happy with themselves can truly be happy with someone else. You cannot truly be happy with someone else unless you are happy with yourself. Please write it on your refrigerator. Make a coffee cup as a reminder. Oh, I got a taste for coffee right now. But that's a story for another day. Again, people forget about themselves, are quick to jump into a relationship. There's nothing wrong with relationships. But what I'm saying is sometimes they're simply trying to get away from themselves in the first place. And like I said, now we live in a world that's so backwards that people are looking upside your head when you are happy and you are single. They say, how dare you? You need kids. You need a husband. You need a wife. You need this. You need that. No, baby. All you need is yourself. And that is enough. Everything else is extra. But when you are happy with yourself, that's the prize. Only then can you truly be happy with someone else. If that's not the case, then you just siphon taking people's energy. Okay. I'll say again. The foundation of existence is when you know how to live happily. You know how to live happily. Then you can give happiness and multiply happiness. If you don't know how to live happily by yourself, you're not multiplying, you're subtracting. I have people who send me messages sometimes. Why, and this is not anything against them. You need to be with somebody. No, I don't. Love is not a need. It's not a need. I'm happy with myself, and because I'm happy with myself, I'm taking my happiness with me wherever I go and multiplying it. I'm not looking for happiness. I'm already happy, and until you are happy with yourself, you're not multiplying happiness, you're subtracting it in this world. This is to the people, especially the people who come on here who troll. You're not happy because that's not what happy people do. Until you are happy with yourself, you will continue to create pain in this world, and it's the same pain that leads to war. It's the same pain that leads to death. It's the same pain that leads to destruction. Choose happiness. All right, now. Compassion, because that's our topic, is accepting the essence of all things. Okay. Here's a story. I like stories when my mind can catch up and they make sense. Sometimes they don't always make sense. It says, one night a Zen master was lecturing. A robber with a sword entered and demanded money, threatening to kill the Zen master if he did not comply. The Zen master told him, please don't bother me. My money is in the drawer. Go and take it yourself. And continued his lecture. A few minutes later, the Zen master paused his lecture and said, don't take all the money. I need some of it to pay my taxes tomorrow. When the robber collected nearly all the money and was about to leave, the Zen master said, remember to thank me when you receive a gift. So the robber thanked him and left. Okay. A few days later, when the robber was caught, the Zen master was called to testify. He simply stated, this man is not a robber. At least not in what I know. I gave him the money and he thanked me. After serving his sentence, the robber visited the Zen master and became his disciple. Without any judgment or condemnation, simply accepting the true nature of the person, the Zen master transformed a thief into a practitioner. This is powerful. This is powerful. This is the alchemy of a Zen master. Mm. Judgment. This is the story of a Zen master. But what about our lives? We often like to judge others, discussing and exaggerating their faults for our own amusement. Gosh, this is hitting home. I don't know about you. You ever be in church and you feel like the pastor is just talking to you, just slapping you upside the head? Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like that. So if nobody else is getting anything from it, I surely am. I surely am. Anyway, again, we often like to judge others, always discussing and exaggerating their faults insistently, is what it says, for our own amusement, because it makes us feel pure, makes us feel better about ourselves. Constantly affirming our self. You ever get or feel like you do that? I know I have. I know I've done it. Child, please. Please. Anyway, when you always assume others are wrong, it implicitly affirms that you are right. When you always assume that others are wrong, it affirms that you are right. When I have people that come on here and they say things like Jesus is the only way, they assume that they are right, for example, and others are wrong, for example. It's very interesting. Okay. Leading us astray on the path of consciousness. It becomes a barrier preventing us from achieving true compassion and humanness, even towards those closest to us. And this is why I say everybody has their own path and everybody has their own perspective. And if you walk a mile in a person's shoes, you would think like that man. Like I said, this is just an example so that we all can understand. For example, the people that come on here and they say Jesus is Lord, I know that they have a certain perspective, and that's the energy that they're coming with because that's how they were taught. Again, if you walk a mile in a man's shoes, again, that doesn't mean that you have to tolerate something. That doesn't mean that you have to tolerate abuse, for example, just because you can see the root cause, just because you understand that you would, if you walked a mile in a man's shoes, you would think as that man. You see, you have to start seeing people, all people, as your daughters and your sons. That's deep, and that's what it talked about. These are not my words. Okay, so I'm not going to tell people that they're wrong. I'm going to tell people that they have their path and walk your path. If your path is Christianity, great. Walk that path. Let it be your path. But I'm not going to, and if your path is an atheist, great. Walk that path. I'm not here to judge, nor am I here to condemn. I'm not here for that. I'm here to remind us all that truly we need to fire the judge in our heads. For real. Stop judging ourselves and then stop judging other people. That's the key. I'm talking about consciousness. I'm talking about pure consciousness. I'm not talking about religion. Religion is great if that's where you are in this classroom of life. This is a classroom. Okay? I'm talking about consciousness, which supersedes religious category. Before there was religious category, there was consciousness. And I'm not here to judge anyone. Whatever mountain you stand on, okay, that's not what this is about. Again, like it says here, when you always assume others are wrong, it affirms that you are right. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm not saying anybody is right or wrong. Your perspective is your perspective. And it is what it is. How much peace is in that? How much compassion are in those words? How much love is present when we can see that everybody has their perspective? Again, walk a mile in a man's shoes, you will think as that man. Anyway, again, when we have this mindset of telling people they're wrong, it makes it seem as though we are right, like we feel like we are right. This is a trap that many of us fall into, leading us astray on the path of consciousness. I'm not talking about the path of religion. I'm talking about the path of consciousness. It's a different path. Anyway, it becomes a barrier preventing us from achieving true compassion and humaneness, even towards those who are closest to us. What have we done to them? We ceaselessly judge them, label them. Why are you so bad? Why are you so indifferent? Do you think that criticizing and labeling spouses and children will make them change for the better? But Osho would tell you that you are mistaken. This approach only makes them more resistant when attacked. Okay. This is common psychology among all of us. Remember, when you help someone, it means you must help them be themselves. But when you try to change the other person, here we go, trying to change people. Some of us are stuck there because somewhere within our subconscious mind, perhaps, we are fearful of people who are different than us. And the only way we find comfort is when we convert people to be like us. You see. All right. Yeah, again, but when you try to change the other person, you are just trying to make them live according to your wishes. It's like an act of violence in a way. When you continuously criticize and label someone, that person will only delve deeper into their mistakes. Some of you guys maybe experienced this growing up as children. Maybe you were constantly criticized. And maybe that's why you still criticize people to this day. Maybe you criticize yourself so much. And you criticize other people too. All right? It's very interesting. Very interesting. But when you truly accept someone, oh boy, unconditionally, not I accept you only if this, I accept you only if that, I accept you only if. And again, acceptance doesn't mean that you necessarily need to put yourselves in harm's way. Acceptance is simply seeing this is what that person is dealing with, this is what it is, and that's it. and not feeling the need to constantly criticize that person, feeling the need to constantly want to change that person. It's not our jobs to change people. It's not our job. It's not our job to be Holy Ghost Junior. It's not our job. It's our job to elevate our own state of consciousness, super consciousness, beyond. It's our job to become the best version of ourselves and leave this world better than how we found it. You're not leaving this world better than how you found it if you're constantly criticizing and judging other people. You're adding to the pain of the world, actually. Okay. Anyway, when you truly accept someone unconditionally, they start to change. This acceptance gives them additional motivation and confidence to become a better person. This is a truth we often think works in the opposite way. Hence, life brings us a lot of hurt and suffering. Remember, you don't need to fight darkness. You just need to light a candle. However, many people will say that with compassion, we might no longer judge a thief, a murderer. But to prevent that, we still have to impose punishment, which is what it says in this article here. How can we simply use compassion to reform a criminal who has committed grave crimes? And then it goes into the topic of punishment. This is very interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting. Okay, last but not least, I am going to go over um, the 12 Pathways of Consciousness by Ken Keyes. Okay. Let me go here. Okay, that was me reading some information about compassion um, on Osho's website, and then also on it was an article by Medium. 12 pathways of to higher consciousness. Okay. A lot of us have negative programming, and we do. We do. We have negative programming within our subconscious minds, and this is what causes us to act a damn fool in the first place. The subconscious mind is like the basement of our mind. Is where we've stored a lot of things that we maybe couldn't deal with. Okay. But sometimes you need to go into that subconscious mind, and you need to uncover the things that have been hidden so that you can actually heal. Okay. All right, here we go. The 12 pathways of higher consciousness. Okay. Hold on. I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this here. Hold on. I'm going to read a little bit of this, and so that you have a little background of the Ken Keyes. Okay. All right. In his book, The Handbook to Higher Consciousness, Kenneth Keyes outlines a simple, straightforward path to raising your energy and increasing your ability to love unconditionally, which we need more of, don't we? Okay. There are 12 pathways, all right? But before we get into it, it says, hold on. This is an article. And it says, Keyes identifies 5 stages of learning that everyone passes through. Okay, again, this classroom of life. In the first stage, you are not aware of these ideas and go about your day to day with no recognition of your spiritual nature. You automatically respond and react to events and circumstances circumstances around you. So you're on autopilot. Okay, somebody goes tick, you go boom. In the second stage of awareness, you become aware that there is a better way to live and begin practicing these pathways. but you are still often upset by events in your world and still fall back into your automatic programming often. Again, first stage, you're on automatic. Second stage, you're becoming aware that there's a better way to live other than just being on autopilot all the time. But sometimes you fall back into your automatic programming. In the third stage of learning, you become more adept at using these concepts and can quickly identify your emotional trigger and which pathway is best suited to overcome it. Bit by bit, you realize you do not get upset as easily as you did before. This is good. Fourth, you may start to bring these 12 pathways into your practical everyday experience, such as when you start to become frustrated or upset by something in your environment. I'm giving you tools, okay? You immediately think of the solution and choose one or more of these statements to help you dissipate the negativity and redirect your automatic action before it arises. Lastly, you enter a stage in which you have overcome your habituated tendencies to lower consciousness and you find that you are no longer triggered by the events in this world. You enter a state of detached, joyful fulfillment. All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you the 12 pathways. Oh, this is. Okay, I had to make it bigger. These are things that you could read to yourself regularly. If you go on YouTube, there's actually a song that sings all of the 12 pathways. Every once in a while, I'll look that up, and I probably need to look it up. But yeah, I like it because it's a song. It makes it easier to remember the 12 pathways. I also want to say I highly recommend looking at the book, the what do you call it? The Higher Handbook of or the Handbook of Higher Consciousness by Ken Case. Okay, finding that book and reading it entirely because it's very helpful from page one. It's one of those books that transformed my life movie in such a way. Okay, and in that book, it goes over the 12 pathways of higher consciousness. And so let me give you the 12 pathways because there's levels to this. All right, the 12 pathways are affirmation you memorize and repeat silently to yourself whenever you feel upset. If you are in emotional turmoil, you will invariably discover that you are failing to follow the advice of one or more pathways. This is a book that I haven't read yet. Ken's textbook, How to Enjoy Your Life in Spite of It All, gives the most detailed discussion of the pathways. I haven't read that one yet, but I read the other one. All right. You can think of them as like paths, guides, rules of thumb, or thinking idioms to use and to lead you from turmoil to calm. The pathways use some old terminology, and addiction is something you tell yourself you must have to be happy, for example. It is an emotion backed demand. In contrast, if a preference is not satisfied, you don't need to make yourself miserable. So, what it's saying here, instead of, for example, in the book, it goes over this in detail. Instead of saying, I need this in order to be happy, you upgrade and say, I prefer this. I prefer this, not a need. You elevate things from being a need to being a preference, which is a different energy. Okay. If a preference, for example, is not satisfied, you don't make yourself miserable. All right. Programming, which is another word they use, refers to your belief systems and characteristic ways of looking at the world. Okay. The 7 centers of consciousness refers to 7 ways of filtering your experience, focusing on a particular aspect of it: security, sensation, power, love, etc., etc. Okay. Here are the 12 pathways of consciousness. All right. These are things that you can repeat to yourself. Okay. I'm going to say this a couple times. If you want to get a piece of paper, this is probably a good time to do that. All right. If you want a copy of this video, first of all, I guarantee I keep my videos hidden, so it won't be available. If you want a copy of this video, please go ahead and see or email drbconnects@gmail.com. DrBeeConnects@gmail.com. I will make sure that you have a link so that you can go over this video again. Anyway, here are the 12 pathways. This is something that you would say regularly. Okay, let's say tomorrow morning. Hey, Salvador. I am freeing myself from security sensation and power addictions that make me try to forcefully control situations in my life and thus destroy my serenity and keep me from loving myself and others. Okay? I am discovering how my consciousness dominating addictions create my illusory version of the changing world of people and situations around me. I welcome the opportunity, even if painful, that my minute by minute or minute to minute experience offers me to become aware of the addictions. I must reprogram to be liberated from my robot-like emotional patterns. Okay, this is number 4. I always remember that I have everything I need to enjoy my here and now. This is one that I forget, I tell you sometimes. Thank you, Salvador. Unless I am letting my consciousness be dominated by demands and expectations based on the dead past or imagined future. Number 5, I take full responsibility here and now for everything I experience, for it is my own programming that creates my actions and also influences the reactions of people around me. Okay? Number 6, I accept myself completely here and now and consciously experience everything I feel, think, say, and do, including my emotion-backed addictions, as a necessary part of my growth into higher consciousness. Okay. Number 7, I open myself genuinely to all people by being willing to fully communicate my deepest feelings, since hiding in any degree keeps me stuck in my illusion of separateness from other people. Okay. Number 8, I feel with loving compassion the problems of others without, this is a good one, without getting caught up emotionally in their predicaments that are offering them messages they need for their growth. Thank you, Salvador. I act freely when I am tuned in, centered, and loving. But if possible, I avoid acting when I am emotionally upset and depriving myself of the wisdom that flows from love and expanded consciousness. That's one I needed to hear for sure. I am continually calming the restless scanning of my rational mind in order to perceive the finer energies that enable me to intuitively merge or unitively merge with everything around me. Number 11, I am conscious or constantly aware of which of the 7 centers of consciousness I am using, and I feel my energy, perceptiveness, love, and inner peace growing as I open all of the centers of consciousness. Okay. And then number 12, I am perceiving everyone, including myself, as an awakening being who is here to claim his or her birthright to the higher conscious planes of unconditional love and oneness. Okay. All right. So you can find these, the 12 pathways of consciousness on the internet. There's a song that sings it, which is great because then that way you can just listen to it in the morning. Again, this is the 12 Pathways to Higher Consciousness by Ken Case. All right. Okay, so last but not least, we're just going to have a silent meditation. And then we're going to head on out. Thank you for the love. I definitely enjoyed our talk today. I realized that there's a lot of material and a lot of information and a lot of things that were said. I realized that, you know, the type, the types of talks sometimes that I do are not necessarily what's popular to people. But you know what? Sometimes what's popular is not. Sometimes what's popular is not necessarily what's right. Okay, what I'm saying is I am here to I'm here to deliver a message. Whether that message comes across as being popular or not is neither here nor there, because the goal is not popularity. The objective in this message is to share what compassion is, what it means, and also share the 12 pathways of consciousness, which is what has been shared. And also during that process to bring encouragement and, hey, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and we're going to have the a 3 minute silent meditation. Feel free to join in. If silent meditation is not for you, that's okay. All we're going to do is sit and breathe. I may speak a few words during this silent meditation, just depending on how the universe directs. So if you're in a place where you can just sit, relax, and breathe, perfect. So let's just get there. And all I want you to do is just breathe like you would just normally breathe. Okay? No pressure, nothing crazy. Try not to fall asleep. Again, we're going to be doing this for 3 minutes, and all we're doing is sitting and breathing. Let's go. Again, we're just sitting and breathing for 3 minutes. Hey, buddy. Just sitting and breathing. Nothing to do. Just sit and just breathe. As you breathe, I want you to be aware of wherever your breath is in your body. Is it in your chest? Does it go down to your belly? Can you take it all the way down to your toe? Just sit and breathe. And watch your breath. Literally see it in your body. When you breathe in, pay attention to your breath. Again, we're just sitting and breathing. Drop your shoulders if you can. Just let the whole day go. Let it go. Wherever you were earlier, whatever issues you had, just let it go now. You're just sitting and you're just breathing. Wherever you feel tension in your body, just relax. If you can sit down a little deeper, sit down a little deeper. Just don't go to sleep. Just sit and breathe. Just watch your breath. One more minute, just sitting and breathing. Just sit and breathe. Sit and breathe. Okay, we're getting ready to come on out of our meditation. If you can, wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. All right, you guys. So whenever you can, do the meditation of just sitting and breathing. Make an attempt maybe to do that maybe in the morning. Maybe do it before you go to bed if you can, and just sit and breathe. Just take time to just sit with yourself and just breathe. You don't have to do anything fancy. You know, a lot of times people are like, I don't know how to meditate. I don't know what to do. Well, anything can become a meditation. Yet, one of the best meditations that you can do is just a conscious breath. And when you're sitting and you're breathing and you're just watching your breath, baby, that's more than enough. That's more than enough. So just start there. Just start there. Again, I hope this message touched someone. I know it definitely touched me. I'm telling you what, like, I know for a fact that I need to go over the 12 pathways of consciousness again and just, put that back in my vibrational frequency on a regular basis. And like I was telling you, there's a song or there's a YouTube channel somewhere on here that has the 12 pathways of consciousness in a song format, which is helpful because as you heard, there's a lot there's a lot of words within the 12 pathways. And so when you sing it, it helps you to really, I guess, get it in your spirit, so to speak. So, all right, guys. Well, I love you, love you, love you. And again, I hope that you're encouraged. I'm definitely encouraged. You know, just hold on. Just hold on, you guys. And, you're here. You are here. We're all on this earth for a reason. We all have a purpose. We all have gifts. No one is beneath you, nor are you superior to anyone. Nothing can be added to you and nothing can be taken away. You already have value. You're lovable simply because you exist. There's nothing that you need to do to earn anyone's love. Love is a gift and it is freely given. So please remember that as you go on about the rest of your week, and stay encouraged. Until next time, love someone. Thank you for the love. Thank you for everyone being here. Love someone, starting with yourself. Bye for now.